Hello, everybody. We are live on African Sports Guy now with Q on Sports. How you doing, Q on
I'm
Sports? How's it
good.
going?
I'm good. I'm good. Looking forward to this in a world that's kind of crazy right now with Iran and everything else. Sports is the one place where everyone should find happiness, depending who we support, obviously.
Yeah. It is what it is. We won't get into politics, but just before we start, I just like to say R.I.P. to Chuck Norris, bruv. Yeah, Chuck Norris is gone,
Oh
right?
my word! That's when you know it's a crazy year when Chuck Norris is gone. Like who would have thought? 86 man, but he played a good innings, man.
Yeah, 86, man. I
Considering,
mean, if you go at 86, I think if I go at 86, I'll be happy. I think I can be happy with that innings. Although I made a deal with
yeah.
God when I was 13 that I'm not gonna die until I'm 120.
That's like the equivalent of Methuselah in the Bible right now. No one reaches 120, man.
120, that's the age limit apparently, right? I don't know how far true that is because a lot of these things we hear as kids, right? We never really ever evaluate ourselves, and so we just
Yeah.
sort of just hear what other people are saying. So it's pretty interesting. So yeah, R.I.P. Chuck Norris. I remember, I'm a bit older, so I remember a lot of his movies and stuff, and him versus Brett
Bruce Lee.
Lee. Bruce Lee, sorry, Bruce Lee. I'm saying Brett Lee. Some got forced on my mind. I'm thinking of the cricketer Brett Lee. And him and Bruce Lee and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So R.I.P. Chuck Norris. I think he had a good innings, to be quite fair with you. I think he had a good life. He impacted a lot of people, and he had white people believing for a long time that they were martial artists, So it's sort of
Tell
those
me about it.
things. Yeah,
Walker,
sort of those
Texas
things.
Ranger, man. He's a legend.
Walker Texas Rangers was awesome, bro. Those Van Damme like
Yeah.
kicks, bro. Those are sick, bro. With a cowboy hat on, bro. That was quite sick.
We're showing our age here, man. Some of the people wouldn't even know what that is.
Well, we're old, bro. We're old. We're old. There's nothing to be shocked about, is it now? So now, the question is, did you watch last night's game, Manchester United versus Bournemouth? What did you think?
I did. Tale of two halves and a controversial second half. Some of those decisions. Yeah, it's weird in a world full of VAR and all the technology. Still, some of those things are just, there's no explanation. So we need that guy. What's his name? McDermott, the chief politician, spokesman for all the referees, to come and explain some of these decisions.
He lies. He lies. That one just always agrees with the refs. Always, 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 always. Even when the referees themselves come out and apologize, right? They come out and say they're sorry. What does he do? He just goes, well, it's quite soft-spoken, right? Well, I don't really see it like that. I have to agree with the referee here. That's
Of
why we
course, you're
shouldn't
going
have
to
VAR.
agree with the referee. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen him ever, not once. Because I remember, like, if people think I'm biased, right? If you watch the game against Man City, right, the one when Carrick's first match was against Man City, right? Carrick's first match, right?
Yeah.
If you watch Carrick's first match against Man City, when Dalot open foots, was it Rodri?
Tackle.
Was Checky? Some one of those players, right? He open footed one of the players. Was Doku, right? That was a blatant red card. I don't know what VAR was thinking. I think they didn't have the bottles because this was early on in the match. They didn't want to give a red card in the derby, right? But it was a red card. And then when he comes on, he's like, oh, well, he wasn't really following through, that kind of thing. So, they've judged that the force wasn't sufficient.
Intent.
Blah, blah, blah,
I was
blah,
like, come on.
So, something like what? You want the guy to actually break Doku's leg.
Yeah, that's actually, so let's say what the commentators actually said. He said, there's intent, and then there's actually what happened. So do you want the actual action to happen? Then only then it's a red card. I was like, come on.
Yeah, it's insane.
I think it's just double standards. Yeah.
The question is, why doesn't VAR work in England, right? Because I remember I was watching La Liga the other day, and I also watch Serie A sometimes as well. But Serie A, I only watch Napoli because I kind of like, I want to see what Hoyland and Maxos, what they're doing, right? And so I watch Napoli a lot. And sometimes I watch Juve as well because I like McKennie, I like Thuram. There's a couple of players that I like in Serie A. So I watch them a lot. They never have a problem with VAR, ever. Like never, right? They just don't have a problem with VAR. And look, in Spain, it works. Why?
Yeah. La Liga is the technology. So La Liga they have mixed reality. Like, like when they 3D render and they can actually replay what actually happened and show you the models. So I think La Liga, I can speak for La Liga. I think the technology side of La Liga is actually quite advanced. I don't know why they don't implement it in Premier League. Who knows? In Italy, I don't know. I think if you think about the best referee is in the world, they've come from Italy. So whatever they're doing in Italy, they must replicate it. What's his name? The Pierluigi Collini, the bald guy,
Yeah, Colina. Yeah,
best
Colina.
referee of
Pierluigi
all time.
Colina.
He
Yeah, one
comes
of the
from
best.
Italy.
Yeah, that definitely. Yeah, one of the best, definitely. Yeah. Do you think
Yeah,
that? Do you think it's time that? Because for me, it's like, okay, cool. The English Premier League. I know it's got England on the top of it, right? But the majority of players in the English Premier League are not English, right?
yeah,
The
they're
majority of fans
all over.
are not English, right? So, for instance, Manchester United is reported to have something like 900 million fans all over the on Earth, right? Out of those 900 million, how many live in Manchester? Tell me. Not even 1%, right? Yeah, yeah, let's be honest, not even 1%. And let's say Man United is what, 20 million, 30 million fans in the UK. Is that
Yeah,
too much? Is that too little? Right? That means that 880 million fans all over the world, right? Right. So don't you think it's time to start importing like how they do with players, right? Isn't it time to import referees from all over the world? So
it
that the
would. It makes
standard,
sense.
so you raise the standard of refereeing in England, and it's an international league. If we're just being honest, it's an international league, right? The
Yeah,
majority of fans, like for instance, there's a stat with the Super Bowl, right? The Super Bowl had 150 to about 180 million viewers, and this is one of the biggest events on earth, right? It's one of the
yeah,
biggest
sporting event.
events in American sports, right? It had about what? So about 150 to 200 million people, not even 200 million. Watched the Super Bowl. It was a boring Super Bowl by anyway. The next day, Liverpool versus Man City had 750 million viewers.
That's crazy. That's
750,
crazy.
Quentin. So what are we talking about here, right? So it's an international league. Don't you think it's time that we actually import? I mean, I think they were like one Australian referee, but I would import from Africa, from Asia, from South America. South American referees seem to be okay. What about from Italy itself? Import from Italy. Get some of those Italians in the league, right? Just as long as the guy can speak English, I think that because the standard is terrible. Q on
It
Sports,
is,
mate.
but I
The
think
standard is terrible.
but isn't it whoever runs that side? I think they got, from what I gather, they've got proper bodies on the refereeing side, proper academies, certifications. I also think it's because it's English run, and that's one of the main things. I do agree. Like if you import, you should have a better standard of refereeing. But then again, you can bring all the best quality referee, right? But then we've put in place systems to help them, like VAR. VAR has its detractors. It should work in theory most of the time, but I don't understand how you apply it. Sometimes it's just, I don't know. There's no answer for VAR, to be honest. Like those decisions that were made in the second half, they kind of spoiled the game. Like at halftime, it was even. We were both attacking football, very
Mm.
entertaining. Bournemouth always raises the game for Manu. I don't know why. The rest of the top six, they don't. They just love playing with us. I was thinking, yeah, this is game on. They end those decisions, and luckily we won it. We drew 2-2, but it could have gone the other way, to be honest.
I think they were trying. They're trying to make us lose because if you look at it, right, okay, the guy gave 9 minutes extra time. 9 minutes. When was the last time you saw
Yeah.
9 minutes extra time? Kiosk. When was the
Oh,
last time you saw 9 minutes extra time?
I see it all the
Like
time now.
they had gotten rid of it, right? They've been complaining about it. It's too long, right? So for me,
Yeah,
the way, if you look at the first decision, Cunha's penalty, right? That was a definite penalty. The guy was put. You could literally see his shirt. So that was an easy decision to make for the ref. Easy decision to make, right? And then you look at Ahmad's penalty. Ahmad's penalty, fine, he goes down. But if he stays on his feet, and I hate this thing, Yekuti, hey, he went down too easily. If you stay on your feet, you're not going to get the penalty, right? If you watch Doku's game against Real Madrid, especially in the first leg, how many times
yeah.
was Doku kicked in the penalty box, in Real Madrid's penalty box? They were kicking the hell out of that one, bro. But because he's an honest player, he really didn't go down, right, Doku? He didn't go down. Some might say he's naive. Some might say he's an honest player, but he didn't go down, right? He stayed on his feet. Not one time did the referees try to review that or VAR look at it or any of those. They didn't care. So if you don't go down, you're not going to get the foul. The referees are not going to do it. So you have to go down, right? So Ahmad's thing, was it enough to pull him down? You could argue maybe, maybe not, right? But still, they hindered his progress. They definitely fouled him. It should have been a penalty. But fine, maybe you don't want to give that as a penalty. Fine, you want to have a more substantial contact, right? But then tell me now, how do you justify sending Harry Maguire off then? If Ahmad's penalty is not a penalty, then Harry Maguire's penalty is not a penalty either. If Ahmad's is a penalty, then for sure Harry Maguire deserves to go off, red card. I'm right behind you. Of course, Harry Maguire also made a boneheaded decision. But if you look at his quote afterwards, he said he made that decision to pull him back a little bit, right? Because he assumed the referee was going to be consistent because of what he did with Ahmad. He literally said that in his quote. No, that's what he said. He said, I literally saw just a little bit of contact. I just wanted to slow down a little bit, right? Right? But he said he should have known that the referee was going to cheat. That's what he said. That's what he said. That's what Harry Maguire said. And for me, that's a sensible situation, right? Because you're thinking, fine, even if they go 2-2 up, it's not like it's an FA Cup final or something, right? There's no need for you to get a red card there, right? But I think he was thinking, look, because Ahmad's penalty wasn't given, the referee wants a more solid type of contact, right? And so he can't give, so he's not going to give that. So even when Maguire pulled the guy down, I was watching the game. I wasn't even worried about it being a penalty. I was thinking, of course it's not going to be a penalty because of what happened with Ahmad earlier. But the referee gives a penalty, gives a red card.
I guess so, but it's a couple of things, right? If you see the referee is erratic, you, the player, should just play it safe up to a point, right? Like you said, it's not a cup final, right? And it's better that you stay on the pitch, right? So that's also a judgment call on Harry Maguire. And he's England international. He's been playing the most physical league in the world for a while.
He's very experienced. He's very experienced.
So either way, don't put yourself in a position to, if you're beaten, you're beaten. If it's a 50-50, make the call. You've done it enough times. That's nothing we can tell you as a defender. That's fair enough. On the side of the referee, right, I feel referees, you think referees are robots, as in if they +1 -1 is equal to 0. It doesn't work that way. If the guy's erratic, he will literally make subjective decision. And the calls right after the second half started, I was like, okay, I kind of saw that this guy's that kind of ref. Just as a Man U, on the Man U side, and both teams actually, just play the ref, play to the book. On the other side, like the 9 minutes thing, I read some crazy stat, or so someone said some crazy stat, that the amount of time the ball is in play in the Premier League is less than 15 minutes.
Wow.
In some games.
It can't
that gives you the reason why it can think about it.
15 minutes.
50.
Phew. 5-0. Oh, okay,
yes,
thank
yes.
God. Okay.
Yeah,
okay, I
which
can
tells
believe
you that there's
that
something
makes sense.
wrong.
That makes sense, yeah.
And
That
what they
makes
were
sense,
saying, I think it goes back to that previous discussion about anti-football, Arsenal's way, about flowing football. And some guy was putting the stats that if you look at how much time people are actually playing the ball, it's gone down year on year. Then it explains why so many games are now going to 7 minutes, 9 minutes. How many times have you seen, you said, okay, this game is over. You go get a snack or coffee, go on the 10th minute of extra time. I'm like, I get it now, because the amount of time the ball is out of play, you have to actually give the extra time. And even look at the VAR decision. How long? Sometimes VAR decision takes 4 minutes.
Yeah, it takes too long, bro.
Necessary.
You guys got no.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
So Google is saying that the average playing time is approximately 55 minutes and 31 seconds per match in the Premier League this season.
That's damning. Where's the other 35 minutes going?
Yeah, shrank, bruv. And we pay money for this, bruv.
You don't notice it. Why? You don't notice it because of the commentator, the hype, and the actual environment around games. Like, there's so much hype around the Premier League. If the same thing happened to La Liga or Italy, where the commentators are less exciting, let's be honest, right, and there's less money in promotion, you would definitely notice it.
Yeah, probably. But I don't know, it sucks, man. I think it sucks. Look, I understand the thing you just said about the referee. It's a very, very good point, right? It makes sense. So for me, it's like, okay, cool. I don't necessarily blame the referee. I mean, the referee, I blame him. It's terrible refereeing. I mean, like last week during the Leeds game, the referee literally forgot that he gave the player a yellow card. He literally forgot. And then he gave him a second yellow. And he didn't even know, right? And the player's like, why? Dude, you know that I'm on a yellow card, right? And the guy gave him a yellow. He completely forgotten, right? I mean, so referees make mistakes. The standard of refereeing is really, really low in England. Really, really low. So fine, that's very fine. But then what is VAR there for then, Q on Sports? What's VAR there for? What is it there for? Right? It's there to say, fine, okay, cool. We understand that the referee's made a mistake, but hey, Mdada, actually look at this. Look at what's happening here. I heard also that there's a story coming out in England that apparently they were going to give the penalty. VAR was going to give the penalty, right? But because Bournemouth scored, they were like, it's not a big enough mistake to overturn a Bournemouth goal.
Okay, so let me ask the first part. I know VAR has like a sandbox they can play in. They can't do certain things, and apparently the referee is the final decision. And apparently there's all this technology around talking to them when a decision has been made or they've missed something. So I don't know what happens between the communication from VAR, because they can't miss certain things, and when they do the comms to the referee. I think ultimately what it boils down to, yes, you can get feedback from VAR and it will tell you to go to the monitor, and then we all know what that means. Something decisive is going to happen.
It's going to happen. Yeah.
It's like good and vocal for VR. But ultimately, the ref is supposed to have the final call, because we'll get to AFCON and what that actually means. But VAR is supposed to help and assist and make sure that the speed of the game is too much and there's too much going on. But I also think who adjudicates VAR? So I know how it works. So like there's a group of people in a room, and then there's someone who actually runs them, and who's supposed to be But ultimately, whatever's happening then is still not working. How are we going to get it right? Unless we move to totally computer-generated decision-making, which sometimes happens in automated decision-making. That's the only time it will happen.
Offside.
Yes, offside. But I think
it's part of the game. Skynet judging games.
Yes, basically. That's the only time there'll be no controversy in games. But someone said a good thing about it. It's like, you complain about lack of subjective proper decision-making, or objective decision-making. But let's get to it. Like, if a computer was running matches, some of the excitement will be gone. Yes, it's not fair in some games, but the opposite happens in a lot of games for us, for Man U, where some decisions you're like, wow, how did that get in? Or how is that? Simple things like playing the game on offside is decisive, but certain things happen. It's supposed to balance out at the end of the season. You can complain about one game, but we've also had luck in some games.
There's an article I read last year sometime. I remember, because my father is an Arsenal fan, right? And he always argues that Wenger was denied certain titles during Ferguson's time because of referees. Right? It's an ongoing thing that we talk about, right? And my theory was always, no, it balances out. It actually doesn't, though. It actually doesn't, right? So if you look at, I'm forgetting which team it is. Is it Forest or Everton? There's a team actually in the Premiership that doesn't even have a single penalty. Not one, right? Not one. Right? And there's multiple penalties against them, right? And then you've got situations where, like, in certain seasons, right? Like a certain team is just maybe over an entire lifetime, right, of the team, it balances out. But I think in certain seasons it doesn't. So, for instance, with Leeds last week, Leeds are fighting for their lives. They are fighting for their lives, right, to not get relegated, right? And so I think it's unfair. That's not excitement. Just make proper refereeing decisions, right? And let the actual play on the pitch determine who is the better team, who's not the better team, right? Or set pieces, plays, whatever it is, right? I don't like the fact that the referee shouldn't be. The referee's job is just to make sure that the game is run fairly. He shouldn't be the talking point. We shouldn't be talking about referees for so long, right? I mean, I think it's ridiculous. Now, the problem with VAR in England, right, is apparently they don't have enough referees. And so they actually have to get I'm telling you, they actually have to get lower league referees to officiate in the VAR room itself, right? Apparently. And then secondly, the same pair that denied us the penalty, or that gave a penalty against Martinez and Burnley, Stuart Atwell, who's the referee, and I can't remember who the other guy was in the box, but the same pair, the same VAR and Stuart Atwell pair, they were the same guys who gave that soft penalty against Burnley, which denied us 2 points. And by the way, they came out and apologized for it. They said they made a mistake right after the game. And then guess what? The Premiership put them back together again against us, right? And they've now made another mess up. So another apology is probably coming in a couple of days, right? But it's worthless. It's worthless. And also Carrick. Why doesn't Carrick like lose his temper or lose? The thing about it, if Carrick just has got his hands in his pocket at the side of the pitch, doing nothing, he puts no pressure on the manager, like zero pressure on the manager, right? And so on the referee. And so the referee is allowed to just do what he wants because he knows that he doesn't have Alex Ferguson or David Moyes or Guardiola shouting down his ear or Arteta, right? Some referees actually look at it and say, I can't really mess up here because I'll be in the news tomorrow because Arteta will be shouting or Guardiola will be shouting or something. But because Carrick is in his pocket, hands in the pocket, and in the press conference, he's like, well, it is what it is. It is what it is.
But yeah. It's not Carrick's demeanor, number one. He's not aggressive like that. And those managers you've just described, they've learned not the hard way, but they've learned the right thing to say that I'd rather get a fine and be in the naughty book with the referees as long as they know that you can't just do what you want. And I agree, that's the proper way to do it. And like back to your original point, there's some referees who've just got a weird trend of making bad calls. And some referees have clear bias and there's no repercussions as far as I know for those guys, right? So if you have a bad game and you make a bad call, you make a public apology, what happens to you? There's only been like very few, I know, blatant, let's call it demotions, where you don't see the ref for a while. They rotate them and that person goes and referees the medium games where there's nothing at stake, basically.
Yeah.
I don't see that. There's no repercussions. So they should actually have a system where it actually punishes them for bad officiating.
They're supposed to.
Performance management. That's basically it.
Yeah. What's his name? Howard Webb is supposed to PGMOL
yes.
apparently. PGMOL, and Howard Webb is the head of that. So he's supposed to review performances by referees. They're the guys that issue the apologies and stuff like that. And if your referee is botched or not performing well, he then gets demoted to a champion, like what you said, the championship or a match, or he doesn't get like proper matches. He's not recommended to the UEFA thing and things like that. So yeah. But anyway, CAF. Let's move on to CAF.
Oh
right?
my
What do you think of this ridiculous decision? Oh, I'm saying ridiculous. You might agree with it. What do you think of the decision to strip the African Cup of Nations from Senegal and give it to Morocco 2 months after the event?
So I think it's a much bigger discussion than just the decision. It's number one, it's CAF. CAF had been doing pretty well, right? Let's look at the two AFCONs. The previous edition of this was well marketed and it had some excitement. For the first time, I was very excited. And the final, and who got to the final, was fantastic. And the fact that they put a third place qualification in the groups, they made a lot of good things. And the standard of refereeing in the last tournament, they upped it as well. A lot of upping a lot of standards. And the other things that Africa, let's be honest, we're in Africa. There's a lot of things that in Africa are always going to be there. My kids probably have the same problems. It's number one, refereeing. Number two, underage. They've sorted that out. There's a system now. You submit samples. A third party in Europe also checks them out. So CAF has been doing the right things.
Some of those players, bro. Some of those players are in year.
20. I look at them when they say the age. I look at them.
Michael Essien lied about his age. Michael Essien lied about his age. Yeah, Michael Essien was much older than he actually appeared to be. But anyway, carry on. You're saying?
Yeah. So CAF as a whole, I don't know if it's the leadership of Patrice Motsepe, I don't know, but a lot of South Africans, controversial it is. It's not always about the head, but I think there's a lot of reform. They've done good things up until this decision. It's a couple of things that bothers me. 59 days afterwards. That's crazy.
Ridiculous.
The other thing is the actual regulation, once you go read about it, is very clear. Once the team walks off the field, and they all did completely, it's actually clear what it says. So the decision should have been made then and communicated by the, I don't know if it's the ref or who does it, the ref via the due process to the broadcasters and to Senegal, right? And said, this is what's actually happened. You guys understand, right? And the game should not have actually gone on.
Yeah, but isn't that the referee's decision? Oh, by the way, Brighton is 1-0 up. Frank?
Against Liverpool.
Liverpool,
yes.
Bro.
We'll get into the predictions later on.
Keep back, bro. Then he will, and he
I
doesn't
knew
make the
it.
English squad, bro. He doesn't make the English squad, bro. What rubbish
Yeah,
is that, bro?
they're scared of his injuries as well. You know that as well. He can't play tournament football, but he's
No,
the best
you won't be
striker.
starting. You won't be
You
starting.
won't, but if he gets injured, why did you take him?
Yeah. Then you bring someone else in, isn't it? You're allowed to bring someone else in. Then you
I
can bring in
suppose. But
what's his
anyway, let's
face?
go back to
Because
CAF. So,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
um, so yes, it is the referee's decision in a way, but if it's in the rule book, and I checked, it's actually in the CAF rule book. That's actually it, and it's uniform across a lot of the bodies. Right? It's not the first time this has happened as well. Africa, like any, it's not saying the African problem. In South America, it's actually worse with all the derbies that are there. It's very clear. Once you walk off the pitch, it's actually the captain's thing to say, guys, do you want to walk off the pitch? The team just can't walk off the pitch. They know that. Once you walk off the pitch, it's automatically a 3-0. What I have a problem with is the due process that happened. The ref is supposed to tell
yeah,
us this is what actually happened. They tell the broadcasters, because all of us were lost for a very long time. I was
yeah,
lost.
yeah.
And then when Sadio Mane came back and said they want to come back, that should have been and said no. As controversial as that would have been, it's much better because the team needs to understand. You're in Africa, man. Everyone knows the rules. Sadio Mane is played in international football.
Yeah,
Those guys are the manager as well, the
but
coaches.
yeah.
You don't agree with
No, no.
the penalty that's given, but that's not actually how you do it. You don't walk
Look,
off the pitch.
no, you're absolutely right. Okay, you're completely right. But here's I've got two things to say about this. The first thing I have to say about this is I agree with you. The timing is garbage. It should have been done there and there. I mean, that rule is very clear, right? If you do walk off the pitch, the match it should be forfeited, right? Right? It should be forfeited, right? But once the referees made the decision, right, to bring them back on the pitch, then Japera, it's over. The game carries on. Once the referee makes that decision, because it's the same thing with any other decision he makes. Because now, are we going to now go to the referee and say, okay, he made a mistake with a penalty, right? He should have given this penalty. And that's now 2 months later, we're going to give that penalty back to Bayern Munich or whoever, right? And then they win the cup. It's a ridiculous way of doing things. If the decision should have been made there and then. Patrice Motsepe was there in the friggin' stadium. One focal from him should have been like, bah. Yeah, he was there in the box. And so were all the CAF officials, they were right there, right? They could have said, look, these guys have walked off the pitch, right? Japera is done. It's 3-0 tomorrow. Morocco goes to the cup. It's a wrap, isn't it? If they cared about the rules, but they don't care about the rules, right? They don't care. This is obvious corruption, mate. Money changed hands. Because what's happening, right? I firmly believe that CAF are anticipating that this ruling will be overturned in the Court of Arbitration of Sports, right? Right? I think they fully believe that. And so they're doing this because their hands were greased by Morocco. They were given money. And now what they're doing is, what they actually want to do was reduce the charges that Morocco faced. Have you seen? Those charges have all been dramatically reduced, right? And let's review some of the things they did. Number one, right? They gave Senegal a garbage hotel. There were fans 24 hours around the clock outside the hotel,
making noise,
chanting, making monkey noises and racist things. The bus was pelted by bananas when they were going to training, right?
Oh,
number two, the training ground was right next to the Morocco training ground, right? And the Senegalese reported to CAF that they could see O's recording their practices, right? When the penalty went to VAR, the box with the VAR viewing area, Morocco players flooded that box, intimidating the referee, right, to give the right decision. The decision went their way. Of course, it was the penalty, right? But decision went their way. So that's number three. Number four, they were fighting on the pitch, bro. They fought the sub goalkeeper to take away the towel. The towel boys and the security guard were literally fighting on the pitch during an AFCON final. What was that towel thing about, bro? And it wasn't only the final, by the way. It happened against Cameroon. It happened against Nigeria, right? With these guys trying to fight and get the towel. That's number four. Number five, there were laser beams in the eyes of the players. Every time the keeper, Mendy, wanted to do a save, they were being laser beams, which is illegal, by the way, right? So we're looking at all those things. Hakimi, literally players, dude. Hakimi was fighting the substitute goalkeeper, right? He wanted to give a towel to Mendy. So imagine all of those things. And then nothing happens to Morocco. In fact, what you do is take away if they just said, look, we're avoiding that final, that would have been a much more honorable decision, because you would have said, look, okay, Senegal walked off the pitch, but Morocco were cheating. They were an awful host. They were cheating, right? And so they don't deserve the cup as well. They don't deserve it. Let's put aside the refereeing decisions, right? Because you can't prove that the referee was bribed, or maybe just having a bad game. Who knows? But they're terrible refereeing decisions. So for me, that's the second thing. The first thing I said, I think that if the referee makes a decision, then you have to stick to what the referee says. Otherwise, we can then legitimately go and look at every other decision he made during the game, including the disallowed goal for Senegal and the penalty, and also the disallowed penalty for Senegal as well. We can go and look at all those decisions, right? So if we're going to look at that decision, why are we discarding the other decisions? That's my first point. My second point is, why is Morocco going off scot-free? They've also got things to be accountable for, right? Especially as the host. Why are they off scot-free? Oh, another thing I forgot. Morocco didn't move. They played in one city. All their matches was in one city, bruv. One city, right? Like, for me, it's like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense, the situation. I think, number one, we have to give the referee the authority, and I think that's why it's going to get overturned. Number two, I think Morocco also, their actions are going under the bus. And then I'll finally give you a story. Do you know this is not the first time it's happened in AFCON, Quinton?
Of course. We've been watching African football, even in Champions League. It's worse in Champions League. That's why I like it. It's entertaining. There's some things that are just ridiculous.
In 1976, in Ethiopia, right? Yeah. The same team, Morocco, when they were playing Guinea, walked off the pitch as well for almost exactly the same amount of time, right?
Yeah.
And the game, the referee went and begged the players, and then they came back on the pitch. So what's happening now is Guinea is now applying to AFCON, saying, if you can retroactively take away Senegal's title, we want our title back against Morocco as well, right?
Yeah, but
because
that
they should have won that.
Everywhere, like,
exactly, because in the rules, there's no limit of, there's no statute of limitations of these decisions. There is none, right? And so Guinea have said, if AFCON doesn't give them a proper ruling, and then the Court of Arbitration of Sports does not reinstate Senegal, right, to be the champions, then Guinea are also going to go to the court of to get their title back. Now imagine if Guinea then win. My goodness, it opens up
every other team. Okay, as long as I've been alive, right? I don't know about you. Like my parents back in the day, the Balis, when they used to watch AFCON together, the amount of stuff they used to discuss. Like my father had international friends, right?
Yeah.
The amount of stories I heard about certain AFCONs that the older people have not forgotten. This incident is one of many. There's been worse. The things we discussed that Morocco have done, they've been happening in Africa for a very long time. The laser thing, beyond the laser, it is poisoning food. Beyond that, sending women to seduce the opponents.
Oh yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that.
Flights cancelled, delayed, more travel time, making their visa application more difficult. Africa is not unique in that. South America is also bad, just that there's probably more eyes now. But I think to your points, number one, Morocco wins the semifinals of the World Cup. That's one thing. Ever since then they became the host. They are basically the darlings of Africa, right? And then CAF treated them like that. The fact that your host nation does not rotate their matches is such an unfair advantage. I've actually never heard of that. Even in World Cups, with some of the power and the dynamics in FIFA, they still have to rotate no matter who you are.
Yeah,
somehow Morocco gets away with it. Yeah.
Because so you want the whole country to see the team, isn't right? You want the whole country
beyond that, it's parity. Yeah. You play in different stadiums and different pitches so that you don't get an unfair advantage. If you train there for a year and a half or a year before the AFCON,
imagine
you obviously have a fair advantage.
Yeah.
I know. So Morocco's got a lot to answer for, but they won't. Let's be honest, right? They're going to the World Cup and they're probably number one team will represent us, given how things going. Nothing's going to happen to them. It's just like a black mark on CAF when they're doing so well in other aspects. Not everything, but beyond the leadership of CAF was a bit more, let me say, more reputable under Patrice. Now this is such a black mark. I don't know. But the one funny thing is the memes that have come out. Everyone is now commentating. They were saying, if this happens in Africa, let's go back. Let's England, 1990s. What is it? England. They fought the World Cup. They were
yes, the hand of God. The hand of God against Argentina, right?
Yes. Yeah,
And then
that's a
Cameroon,
big one.
then England themselves, when the referee was cheating against Cameroon, remember Roger
Yes.
Miller's Cameroon? Yeah,
Yeah.
they also got loads of advantages. There should have been a couple of penalties, a handball, all sorts of things that happened in that game. That game was so unfair, you know, that England actually played. They hosted Cameroon like 2 months later after the World Cup, because that World Cup was so unfair how the referee treated Cameroon, right? England wanted to prove to the world that, okay, no, actually we could have legitimately beaten Cameroon. So they invited Cameroon. They paid for everything to invite
Of
Cameroon to
course,
come
they
to
had to
England.
prove themselves.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's how unfair that World Cup was. So there's so many matches. You're right. You're right, Q on Sports. There's so many of these incidents you can go back. You're right.
The number one tournament I'll never forget is South Korea World Cup. I was betting on Spain and Portugal. Both of them got knocked out in dubious
Yo,
circumstances. There's so many. That
yeah,
is the most controversial tournament, probably in my lifetime, anyway. Besides the hand of God, that was just ridiculous. If we're gonna do this, we might as well go back, and this might be a precedent to other FAs. That's another thing as well. Like CAF report into Mother Body, right? And they all sit and discuss different rule books and all this stuff. This is a black mark on Africa, but there's a lot of other stuff that happens in other leagues. I just think this 59 days is probably the worst thing. There's optics. Patrice Motsepe is a corporate guy, right? He runs billions of
yeah.
companies.
He was
There's,
given.
there's,
He
there's
was given.
optics. Yeah, there's optics. There's PR. You know this is coming. It's not a surprise. They must have known. For it to come
Yeah,
59 days and the way it came and hit the media, we were all like, what the hell? Let's be honest, right? That's actually the worst
yeah.
part. You can have bad news, but how you manage it and explain yourself, and they should be on the front foot with this. They should, but I also think it's because they want to get the tournament done and dusted. To be honest, let's get out. It's done. No matter what happens, guys go to court. But
They were in a tough
it is what
position.
it is.
They were in a tough
But
position because you don't want your final. You don't want the team walking off in the final. You really don't want that, right?
yeah, I don't.
So I think here's my thoughts on the matter is that they should have made a ruling on it immediately there and there,
Yep.
right? Should have said, look, either there and there they should have said, look, okay, we understand the referee was under pressure, so he couldn't make a proper decision, right? So we're overruling the referee in this one matter because it's an exceptional matter. So therefore, Cameroon, you are now deemed to have, sorry, Senegal, you're now deemed to have abandoned the match. Morocco gets the cup. That should have happened there and there. If it didn't happen in the stadium, maybe a week after or whatever, or a day after, 2 days after. That should have been the ruling. Because you don't want teams walking off in finals because they don't agree with the referee's decision, right?
Yeah,
Although I
that's
agree with Senegal, in the future, it might be a terrible. They might, you just don't want that to happen. I mean, Senegal they were cheated, but they probably, they didn't deserve what happened to them. But you can't walk off on the pitch. You really can't. And it really sucks that it was the last minute. But he might have missed the penalty. Who knows? He probably wouldn't have missed anyway. But I think that you're right, Kuti. They should have acted. I mean, the time lag is the thing that's just ridiculous about it. And then also the fact that Morocco gets no punishment as well, which I think is completely unfair. All of their fines got reduced. Everything got reduced. Some of it got suspended, right? There were people fighting on the pitch, bruv. On the pitch during a final. Fighting the Tower Boys, bruv. I mean, it's ridiculous. Nothing happens to Morocco. Nothing. Apana, nothing happens to freaking Morocco. I mean, that's ridiculous, mate. In fact, and it just encourages other teams and other hosts, right, to cheat. It really does. It really does.
Just hold on. Okay. Yeah, so I think the one thing for me is it just spoiled the tournament. The tournament was actually fantastic. 2 good tournaments in a row, which is good for AFCON. The excitement level was there, the jeopardy, the big teams played their part. Just the controversy has left a black mark, and I will see what happens. Like, I think they're lucky that the World Cup is going to overshadow everything, but I think next or future generations will start thinking about this kind of stuff. Like, yeah, CAF is there. It's an own goal, basically.
Yeah. 1-1 Liverpool or Brighton 1-1.
Yeah, that I was expecting. Who scored? Ikitike.
Kirkes.
That is that. He's improved. He's much improved.
Ikitike has been injured. He got subbed off like in the first minute, I think. First or second minute.
They're in trouble then.
for Curtis Jones. They scored the equalizing goal without him. So yeah,
I'm thinking more PSG as well. Like, no Ikitike against PSG. Good luck there.
When is Issa coming back, by the way?
Who knows, dude? That's a good question. Is it? I think it's going to be before the end of the season. It has to be, right?
Let me Google that. Let me Google when is Issa.
Yeah, let's check, because that's one waste of money, man. Like,
It has to be the worst signing ever, right?
not ever. There's been worse.
He hasn't played, bruh.
He did. He scored the goals. How did he score the goals if he didn't play?
Look, he hardly played. That's what I mean. Like, he's hardly played. Has there been anyone who's played less after?
I think for the amount of money, yes, it probably is the most expensive blunder. But there's also been others as well, like Shevchenko and company in the long run. And even Fernando Torres.
Oh, he could be on the bench. Oh, okay. So, according to Google, he's resumed light training, and he could be on the bench as early as the PSG match. So there you go. There's your answer.
Okay, he's back, but I don't know what that means actually, because he's out of form. Good luck, Liverpool against PSG. My word, yeah.
I know PSG they didn't look great defensively, man. They didn't look great.
They haven't the entire season. They actually are not convincing. So I was actually surprised when Chelsea didn't even score against them. I've watched PSG ever since the Marseille final. Yeah. They are the most erratic team with the most amount of talent. It's actually insane. Like, they literally switch off. They can actually play you off the park. They should play most teams off the park, given the talent level. But they literally switch off. They just switch off. They literally just say, okay, cool.
You think it's because they play in France?
No, it's not that. Even in their own league, they lost against Monaco. If you watch the game, it literally, if you look at Monaco's team versus them, you're like, how are you winning? They literally just give the ball and just switch off. They let go of the pressure. The midfield just relents. And they're like, okay, have the ball. It makes no sense, actually. It's not tiredness. You can't say that, because there's certain games it's like a derby, right? You can't explain PSG, I'll be honest. You can't.
So what did you think of the match then, PSG versus Chelsea? What did you think of the game? Did you watch the game?
They were sucker punched. The mentality is fragile. Those kids are fragile. Those Chelsea kids, like PSG just hit them. They knew they had to score first, but Chelsea should have expected as well. You're playing against PSG, even if they score first, mentality and keeping your heads, they lost their heads. The camera was panning around, and Fernando and all those guys were just looking around, and Rosinho does not help as well. Like, body language and some of these controversies, it's a team of naive youngsters, which you expect. That's the Chelsea model, right? You buy young, sell them on. What do you expect? Who are the leaders in the team? Reece James is not there as well. That also doesn't help.
Enzo Fernandez, he won a World Cup. He's a World Cup winner. Is he not one of the leaders?
He is, but he looked around like he was lost.
Casado was 26?
Yeah. Both of them looked around like they lost. They were overwhelmed by the situation and what happened to them. And let's be honest, they kind of know once PSG scores first, and then the second one, it was gone. They lost their heads. Rosinho did not help as well. It's a perfect storm of naive youngsters. But yeah, and that was
I watched the first leg, right? The first leg, I thought that Chelsea were the better team in the first half.
They were,
right? But they were the better team up until PSG scored their fourth goal. I think they were by far the better team, right? Yeah, the third one. Yeah, I didn't know. And when you saw, like, did you see like Chelsea's second goal when Pedro Neto just ran past Marquinhos?
Exactly.
What do we call them in high school? Rollers, bro. You're just rolling, bro. You're like just trying, like you're on ice skates. And Marquinhos looked like he was wearing ice skates, bro. Pedro Neto just ran past him. And so I see that as a weakness in PSG, right? Because through Mendes and Hakimi, they always push forward. So there's always space in behind those, if you can work the ball well, if you can beat the initial press. And that's why I think that they may go past. I think they'll struggle with Liverpool, right? Because if Salah plays well on the right, and then they play Florian Wirtz on the left, I think I would play Florian Wirtz on the right. Sorry, on the left I'll play Florian Wirtz, and on the right I'll play Mo Salah. Of course, they're gonna have to play Mo Salah. What can they do? They can't do nothing about it because the manager's got no balls to drop him. So if Mo Salah is playing there, right, and he's being marked by Mendes, and then you got Florian Wirtz being marked by Hakimi, they can have their day there, right? they can actually make some progress. So I don't think it's as straightforward as people are assuming it's going to be.
No, it's
But
not.
anyway, I watched the first leg. Chelsea looked very good, right? They looked
Yeah,
like,
they did.
and I thought that the score was really unfortunate, right? Because you could see that, like what you're saying earlier, you could see that the youthful naivety, right? The naivete, right? You could see it. But then the second leg, after I heard Rosinha's press conference, it made every single sense to me why they got beaten 8-2 on aggregate. Rosinha said, "Oh, well, we just wanted to keep things quiet and then maybe get something on a set piece." His tactic was set pieces. That was his tactic. Against PSG, he was hoping maybe you can keep things quiet in the first half a bit and then score some set pieces, right? And that's literally what he said.
Team confidence. So I think
that's the manager. That's the manager
exactly
saying that. So they had no hope, mate. They had no hope. No.
What's crazy is if you know your team is full of youngsters, you do the opposite. That's what most teams managers do, right? They're like, these guys are naive. They'll go gung ho. You tell them you're gonna fight toe to toe and see how it goes, but be responsible, right? And be on the front foot because you're at home. You're at home. That's the number one thing. They were playing to contain, and I was like, you can't contain PSG because the one thing that PSG is good at is literally taking teams apart tactically. What things they're not good at is physicality and paying attention for 90 minutes. So Rosinha, very much to blame, but also his team. Like, you don't need your manager. Leadership counts as well.
Is he the worst manager in the Premiership?
He's not, based on...
Who's worse than him? No, like, just in your opinion, just like your eye test, right? Is he the worst manager? Like,
it was Ego Tudo, but it's not anymore.
Yeah, look at him now, bro. It doesn't look like that at all, bro.
It doesn't look like anymore. He's not the best IQ and best man manager and doesn't read the room. But what he did against Atletico and probably what he'll do this weekend, which will get into the predictions. So that's a good question. Who is the worst manager? It's not Burnley.
I think
it probably is. Think about it.
I would take Scott Parker over. Liam Rosinha
because he's got fighting spirit. Like his team forged. He doesn't have the talent. Doesn't have the squad. That's the honest truth. For Burnley, I think Burnley also that 4-4
spent no money.
game. Yeah, no money plus the 4-4 game where they nearly drew and there was like an offside. That's the game that actually broke them. After that, they haven't been playing well. It happens. Like you can only fight so long. So that's a good question.
The biggest signing for Burnley, the biggest signing for Burnley was Forrester, right? The South African guy.
Yeah,
the South African striker. That's the biggest signing. Yeah, and he's okay, but he's not he's not a
world beater.
He's not a world beater at all. So I think, but Scott Parker, I think he just needs to hire a proper defensive manager, and I think he could do well because he does not know how to defend, right? Same thing with Company, by the way, when the Company was at Burnley. You remember, like Burnley got relegated with Vincent Company, who's now winning titles at Bayern Munich. Yeah. So for me,
that's a glow up of notes.
Okay, so if you look at the guy who's Wolves, right? I'll take is his name Jones? What's his name?
Yeah.
The Welsh manager. I'll take him above Louis Rosinha, right?
And then he's actually done miracles at Wolves where they were. They're actually a mid-table team based on performance. If you look at the form table
this year,
and you look at it, they're in the top 10, I think, or they live into something around there. For a team that was basically at less than 10 points, that's amazing. It's difficult to go into a team, no momentum, no money, no new signings, rock bottom confidence, and to put that in.
All your players gone, all your top players have gone. Like I think Wolves if they can keep him as a manager, because I think some teams
they're coming back.
Crystal Palace might like snatch him and stuff like that. But if they can keep him as a manager, they'll come straight back up. Burnley we got Scott Parker. West Ham we got Nuno. I'll take Nuno over Rosinha. What about you?
Yeah, I would because I think you need gravitas.
Gravitas, experience, all that stuff. Yeah. So then you got Forrest. Who's the Forrest? You got that the Portuguese guy, right? Forrest manager. I'm forgetting his name.
Yeah,
but he's
the one that replaced Schumberg.
I'll take him over. Right. So then you've got right now Tudor. I'll take him over. Leeds. Who's the manager? Leeds again. Farker.
Yeah.
Farker. I'll take Farker over. Yeah, I'll take him. And then you got Crystal Palace. 100% you take him. right?
Yeah, Rossi. Yeah, this actually
I
might
was
happen.
thinking,
You
yeah,
actually that actually might happen
yeah. And
if you
then you
think
got
about it.
Sunderland. Sunderland, their manager,
Yeah,
Sunderland have done well. You take him. Marco Silva at Fulham, you take him, right?
yeah.
Bertilla at Brighton, would you take him over Liam Rosenior?
I don't know because Brighton are hot and cold.
That's a bit
Um,
tricky.
that's a tricky
But
one
yeah,
because Brighton have really disappointed me in some parts. Now they come back like the last 3 games, but they always do
yeah,
that. Like they bounce back. But then again, Brighton has lost so many people. That's another thing as well.
yeah. And they're gonna
So
continue
that
losing.
one's
I
still
think
tricky.
that.
I'm not convinced the Brighton guy that next year they'll make it because
But look, if I had to
then
put my house on it, I'll take him over Lorisinia, right?
yeah, I
Then
think there's
you got
I think
Iriola at
there's a
Bournemouth.
little yeah, he's done now. Yeah, he's gone. He's basically going anyway.
Yeah,
You're
he's
waiting
going
for a
to go to
decision
squad.
for him. Yeah, he's too good.
Madrid
He might
or
go to
Man United or Chelsea even or Tottenham. Yeah,
yeah. He
yeah,
can walk into a lot of teams because he's done an amazing
yeah,
job and he doesn't complain
yeah.
and the resources and he's a good man. He's improved players. That's one thing that actually is missing in the
He does
Premier League.
improve players. You're right. He does improve players. And also look
Yeah,
at the
that's
attitude
really
of his team, right? I'm still
yeah,
sour because obviously I'm a Man U fan. I'm still sour about the victory, right? But Brighton, I think Bournemouth didn't do anything wrong to us. I think it was a referee. The referee was the one who was offside. The Brighton,
yeah,
the Bournemouth players themselves, I got nothing against them, right? But look at the attitude of the players. They never say high attitude. They're not being overawed by big teams. So for me, like when I look at the Man United players, the attitude. Oh, sorry, in this time we're talking about Chelsea players, but even Man U to a certain extent, right? You see Kobe Mainoo walking so many times during the game yesterday. How many
yeah.
times did Brighton Bournemouth play just run past Kobe Mainoo, right? Ahmad at times walking. Luke Shaw, oh my God, Luke Shaw, bro. Yeah, we need a left back, bro. We need a left back. But anyway, I'll take him over Liam Rosinia. Then you've got Newcastle, Eddie Howe, of course. Eddie Howe, you take him over Rosinia. Everton is
Yeah.
number 8. Then you got David Moyes. David Moyes is 100% better manager than Rosinia.
Yep.
Brentford, the Brentford manager, I'm forgetting his name, but he's proved this season to be better than Rosinia.
Then
Slot, would you take Slot?
No. He hasn't
Slot or
got
Rosinia?
a slot, that one. Slightly because I think he does have a pattern of play.
Yeah.
Yeah, a tough one to implement in the Premier League. That one is tough, my friend. Trying to do what you're trying to do in the Premier League.
Okay, Slot.
And I also think.
Yeah, carry on.
So yeah, he is the worst, to be honest.
Yeah. Then you got Unai Emery, Michael Carrick, Guardiola, and Arteta.
There's no contest there, man.
Yeah, so he's the
There's
worst.
No
he's the worst
there.
manager. He's the worst manager. I like him though as a person. As a person, he seems like a really nice guy. And as a
but
black
that's why he was also hired.
Well. There are not a lot of black managers in the Premiership, so you want him to do well. I really want him to do well, right? But I don't want to. Not good.
I do, but he needs to get some steel, and he needs to have coaching around presence and the notebook thing. That's just
that notebook thing is ridiculous. It's a joke, bro.
Yeah, and then the huddle gate as well. Like no matter what happens, the team can make mistake. That huddle gate, just say the right things, man. Like you don't have to be articulate. Just say the thing that makes the PR people keep quiet.
Q Sports, can you explain the notebook, please? Please attempt to. To this day, I haven't had anyone defend the notebook. Can you play devil's advocate? The fact that he's giving a note to Garnacho in the
end of the game when you're losing.
at 81st minute, right? What was written on that note? There's a guy on ESPN who said called Craig Bailey. He said, "Look, unless that's what's written on the notice, like, okay, we're meeting at pub number 5 after the game, lads, and we have to have a drink up and forget about the match. Unless that's drinks on me. Unless that's the note, what's the point? Can you try your best to actually give a justification for that note to Garnacho at the end of the game? I'll be interested to hear what you have to say about that. That's for me.
I can't claim to be a mind reader, but if I was to say something, it was optics. He's trying to show that I'm applying myself to the 90th minute no matter what. But there's no note in the world that's going to salvage that situation. Even with Stevie G, AC Milan versus Liverpool in the Champions League final, it was just the wrong thing to do. Like You don't pass
Bruv.
note. Number one, you don't pass a note, right? The note is not for. So the only thing is the note
Yeah.
is so you can't read it, right? So the camera can't pick up what you're saying. But what are you saying at that 85th minute? Why do you speak to why? What are you going to say to Garnacho, who's a winger? We have no ball possession. You're trying to attack a team that's basically you can't get through. It's too late. The tire's gone. You need to look forward to the next game. You actually need to go to Garnacho and say, dude, do you want to get off so we can just give the light to you some time? There's nothing.
No,
I actually can't.
he was subbing Garnacho on, wasn't he? You're subbing Garnacho on.
Yeah, but he was. But Garnacho looked at his body language. Garnacho's body language.
You can see.
I love it. They made such a good memes with that. He was like, dude.
It's like, have you ever been in a situation where like a teacher is like scolding you, right? Or something, and you know you're right, but you don't want to disrespect him.
Yeah,
right?
It happens,
you don't want to
even at
disrespect
work,
like your lecturer or your boss at work or something. You don't want to disrespect your boss at work, right? But you know that they're wrong and you know that you're right. But you can't be like, dude, okay, slam dunk, you're wrong. So you have to be like, yeah, whatever, man. And you can see that face like, dude, what is the point of this nonsense? Why am I even being subbed on? Why am I even being subbed on at this time?
You know, it was funny. In my mind, I was thinking when I saw that Garnacho's going against Nuno Mendes, the best left back in the world, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, good luck with that. Well, I don't know what the note says. Maybe it says dribble more. Or try passing through his legs. Who knows? It was funny. But okay, I think he needs to someone needs to go to him, put his arm around him and tell him, listen, optics matter. Optics do matter.
I think he might just give it a go because I think he's not going to have the job next season. 100%, he's going to get fired, right? They're going to bring in someone more experienced because I don't think he's even going to qualify for the Champions League. They won't qualify for the Champions League. They're out of the Champions League. They're not going to win a single trophy. They're going to finish 6th or 7th because Brentford is right on their heels, by the way, Brentford, right? So if they finish below Brentford, if they finish 7th, my friend, 7th, right?
That is.
He's going to get fired, right? Because damn the 3-year contract, Chelsea don't care. They don't care about
these things. We know that, especially then.
So why not give it a go? Why not just give it a go and be yourself and actually just be instead of this composed, wearing glasses guy, like, so we just thought that we're gonna do this, and nah. Anyway, let's move on. Real Madrid, Man City. What did you think of that game of the 2 legs?
That was fantastic. That shows you something that everyone has a plan until you get hit in the face. That silver red card was the worst thing that could have happened. There's ifs, whats, and maybes and scenarios, hypothetical, but it happened. We don't know what was going to happen. Was Real Madrid going to come back, score 2 goals at least, put some jeopardy in it? Who knows? But that silver red card, and he was also naive. Talking about naive a lot in this podcast, that was naive. Like, he's an international player. He's cheated before, let's be honest.
He is the dirtiest player in the Premiership. Let's not lie. Bernardo Silva is the dirtiest player in the Premiership. The amount of times he elbows people, tackles 2 foot, all stuff. Even he tried against Man United when he tried to do the to Harry Maguire and pull him into the board. Then Harry Maguire just takes him, hey, look, hey son, what are you trying to do? Right? So he is the dirtiest player. He's a great player, by the way. I don't like him because I'm a Man United fan. I'm not a big fan of him. But he's a brilliant football player. He's a brilliant football player. He really is. But he's dirty. So dirty. And that's why I love this attitude, this reputation of Guardiola being like Wenger. Guardiola is not like Arsene Wenger. Guardiola is dirty and ruthless. He wants to win at all costs. He definitely got black heart. He's nowhere near like Arsene Wenger. Wenger loved football. He was a professor. I think Wenger should have been a lecturer of like football. He could be you go to university and lecture classes on how to play football properly. I think he's an absolute genius, Arsene Wenger. But in terms of actually the dark art of the game, nah.
He didn't have that. Guardiola, he's one of those, like, you do well in corporate. That guy will become CEO in like 10 years. He's got dark arts and nuances. And let's be honest, it's the best of both worlds. You have tick-attacking and the polished Spanish technical football, and a guy who knows that when shit gets real, sorry, excuse my French, when stuff gets real, especially in the Premier League, with all that physicality, my team can rumble. We can go in the streets if you want to.
Rumble with the
But
best.
I think one thing that I didn't like, you can't. I don't have a coaching badge, but very weird choices. Putting Gay on the bench, which turned out to be a masterstroke somehow. I don't know how, and that was weird. And he puts a menu on the bench. He put Shirky. I don't know if that worked out. Or that would have worked out 100%.
But they lost the game, man.
Yeah, they lost the game. He made some weird choices. I think in a way the team he put out was to give it a go. But putting Gay in Semenya means I want to win the cup match against Arsenal in a way. It's half and half. But it was interesting. One thing I did like was Vinny Jr.'s taunting that dude. He's gonna get shot one day. Like he must stop that.
Look, he's allowed to do what he wants, mate. He's allowed to do what he wants. He scored the goal. We're too PC in this world now. We're too like this thing. You know, like the guy. If you don't want him to celebrate, don't let him score. Right? How about that? How about that? How about that, Rodri? Instead of going after him when he scores, how about you stop him from scoring? How about that?
True.
How about that? So for me, I think
we'll see. But I think it's just Real Madrid.
The Arsenal game, Arsenal Leverkusen. What did you think of that game?
Typical Arsenal performance, but with wonder goals in it. That's the only difference. That was a wonder goal. I'll be honest. Like the keeper didn't move. The goal passed him before the keeper moved. From Eze, I was like, wow, that's actually amazing. So which begs me the question: when Odegaard is back, do we put Odegaard back in? If we're Arsenal, I wouldn't, because Odegaard does not perform in this season, at least the big teams. Do you put Eze out in even the Champions League? I would now, because number one, Odegaard has to get back into form, and Eze, he's unlucky in the team that he's playing. There's a lot of stars ahead of him, but you need a mercurial person, because clearly trying to grind down people and using set pieces doesn't necessarily work all the time.
In the Champions League.
Champions League does not work. There's only one team actually that I know can do it, and that was Inter Milan. Inter were the masters of that, and probably Jose's Porto. That team was just built for defense.
I never forget Benny McCarthy. That free kick against us. Benny McCarthy had that, bruh. Bruv.
And Deco and Thiago, OG Thiago. So Arsenal have actually the mercurial people, but I feel they're not given the space to do it because of the pattern of play that Arteta wants. But also the opposite is true. Like that good comment from Thierry Henry is like, you guys are complaining about the pattern of play for Arsenal in this season, but previous 3 seasons when we're the most attacking by stats, most flowing football in the Premier League, still came second. What do you expect us to do?
Were they really the most fluent though?
On stats-wise, attacking-wise, they were first or second, but they played the most attractive.
They play the most attractive? Were they better than Man City last season?
Last season, they were there first or second. The 3 seasons ago,
Bournemouth last season.
Oh no, Bournemouth. Bournemouth don't have defense; they just attack. So no, obviously not. But the 3 seasons ago, definitely, where they played the best football.
I didn't forget that goal against about 3 seasons ago, right? You're right. I didn't forget that goal against Liverpool in the FA Cup. When I remember I was watching with my dad. My dad's an Arsenal fan. And I remember watching, my dad was almost pulling his hair out because they were playing from the back, right? And I remember, I think Saka was playing left back. Saka was playing left back at that time. And the way that they played their way through the Liverpool, and this is Klopp's Liverpool, by the way, they played just tiki-taka stuff, bro. Play up, Martinelli, and then shoom, go, Bora. I was like, wow. If they can play like this, I was like, Arsenal is going to be like legends for years, right? Because Arteta was a young manager. I think he was like 43 at that time, 43, 42 at that time. So I thought that this team was going to be great. Yeah, he's still young. This team was going to be great. It's going to be there for 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is. And so Arsenal, the way I look at Arsenal is that, look, they have to win their first title, right? They have to win their first title. So if they win their first title, I think once they get that out of the way, then
you can do whatever you want.
It's the more fluid Arsenal. And I think I agree with you. Eze has to play in this team. And I think Eze poses the same problems that Lenny Yoro is posing for Manchester United, right? Because with Lenny Yoro for Manchester United, when Martinez comes back, how can you bench Lenny Yoro the way he's been playing?
True. And
Martinez has to play, right?
Yeah.
But how are you going to play?
And you can't
right?
play Martinez in Euro. That's definitely that would be
Yeah.
disaster.
So how are you gonna bench? Because you got you need the height of Maguire, right? But now, of course, because the red card changes things. And Aiden Evans, by the way, imagine if Aiden Evans for the next 3 games is amazing, like he was during Christmas, right? Well, like he was for
Yeah.
Amorim. Because for Amorim, right, during that Christmas period, Aiden Evans was our best player. He was
Yeah.
amazing, right? And they came and dropped him, unfortunately for him. So what if he picks up that form? Because the next game is 100% going to be Aiden Evans and Lenny Euro, right? As our centre backs in 23 days' time. Because Maguire is going to, unless they appeal the red card, which I don't think is going to get overturned.
I don't think
knowing
it'll get
England.
overturned. Yeah.
So going back
Yeah.
to Arsenal with Eze offers something that is, like you said, the word mercurial, right? He's a game changer. He's not predictable. He's free flowing, and he can produce those shindigs like he did against Bayer Leverkusen. The Arsenal team right now is a bit rigid. They defend first. They're very structured. They don't want to give anything away, right? They don't want to make any mistake. So if you put Eze there, then he just frees up stuff. He really does. And so for me, he has to play. He just has to play. And he can't play on the wing, by the way. He has to start number 10.
No, the center.
Yeah,
they were enough wingers.
Yeah. He gives the team a lot of depth.
I also think the other reason why he has to play is energy. Like Rice and Zubimendi are tired. Let's be honest, right? You can see it now.
Yeah.
They need the energy coming from midfield to the center, because when Odegaard is there, it's not the same box to box energy. So they need
Yeah. So do you think Arsenal win the Champions League? Do you think they can win it?
No, because they'll probably likely to meet, because it's football, Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich, I don't see them getting beaten twice by Arsenal. And I think Bayern Munich just have more tools, more attacking people. And at some point, I don't think Arsenal can defend against Bayern Munich for 90 minutes. It will not happen.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Bayern Munich's attacking stats are crazy. In the Bundesliga, they're averaging 3.5 goals. They've only lost one game.
It's Bundesliga, though. It's Bundesliga. Okay, so let's move on to Liverpool, Galatasaray. What did you think of the
that was the Anfield effect, That was impressive. Let's be honest. That was impressive. That was suffocating. Galatasaray did not sniff, and it was worse for Osimhen when he got injured off. That was critical as well. They had no outlets. They got suffocated. I think Anfield killed them, let's be honest. And Salah was playing out of his skin, but another thing about Salah, about that game, as much as he scored and assisted, the amount of chances he missed and the lack of confidence.
He missed the penalty. Look, the thing about Liverpool, right? Liverpool, for me, that was the Liverpool of old. You're absolutely correct. That reminded me of the Steven Gerrard teams in the Champions League. I mean, the Champions League, by the way. The Xavi Alonso teams in the Champions, the Pepe Reina, that sort of like the Klopp teams in the Champions League. They were very aggressive. They gave Galatasaray no time. Galatasaray had no sniff. If they can play that aggressively, right, where they are swarming you like that, then there's no reason why they can't go past PSG. There's no reason why they can't beat any team in the league, right? So for me, that was an excellent performance. If Salah can keep playing like that, right, can keep that form, then Liverpool can be world beaters. They really can beat anyone if they play like that. So I think that was excellent. I think also it's important to say that Galatasaray are the worst traveling team in the history of football. The worst. Like honestly, like it's like that passport has got some sort of like an activation switch. That switches on something in their brains. As soon as they hold their passport, like something shuts down.
All their stats go down.
They're awful away, bro. Awful away. And they
what's funny,
so many goals, bro.
Even in their league, they're not number one in the league because of that. They travel badly, no matter where they go.
They're terrible. Yeah.
But the only good thing about Galatasaray, they're gone already, is that Icardi will be back, so they have a backup. Osimhen's going to be
Mario Icardi.
Yeah.
Icardi. That's the thing about Osimhen. Osimhen gets injured too often, man. Although he's a brilliant player, I love Osimhen. Yeah. And then I think the game of the week, Tottenham Atletico. What a performance by Spurs, bruv.
Yeah,
what a performance, bruv.
That was men manning up. That was it. That was manning up versus another bad traveling squad, Atletico Madrid away in their own league. Oh my gosh, it's chalk and cheese.
Really?
But yeah, it is. They're one of the worst. I think they got like a 27% win record, 33%, something like that, away of getting points. They're terrible. Even they're talking about Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. I was like, this is not a contest. Who's at home? Real Madrid, I forget it. Atletico Madrid are not going to do anything. They also travel very badly, but either way, on paper and on form, and on morale, Tottenham, yeah, they pulled up their socks. I hope they bring that for their own sake to the Premier League. I think they will. That's two
Forest,
games in a row. That's 2 games in a row
yeah.
against Liverpool
Liverpool,
and
they're
Atletico
very
Madrid.
good. Liverpool, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's steel. That's the steel they've never had. So yeah, as much as we made fun of Ego and I predicted like a 4-1 thrashing, they
Yeah.
they got a bit of steel because the coach is a bastard. He looks like a bastard. And they need that right
Yeah,
now.
he's getting through to them. He's getting through to them. Yeah, I think that Liverpool, Tottenham, sorry, the way they're playing now, I think if they the way they're playing, because if you look at it's not just about necessarily the individual performances, right? Because I thought there were some things that were left. There were some things that you could say were pretty bad. Like I think Jet Spence on that Alvarez goal, right? Did you see the Alvarez goal?
Yeah.
So I think they break, right? They break, right? Because I think it was a Chabi Simon's free kick or a corner or something. They go on the break, right? They threw. And then it's like 3 Atletico Madrid players and there's like 5 Tottenham players. They're back. So you can see Van der Ven, Romeo, actually marshalling. Okay, you go mark this person, you go mark the other person, you go mark, right? And then Jet Spence was like on Alvarez like this. Then for some reason he decides to go and mark the post. He just leaves them. I'm like, what are you doing, bruv? You can't give one of the best strikers on earth that much space and expect not to get punished. So by the time Van der Ven came across to try to block, right, it was too late. The ball's in the back of the net. I didn't understand that from Jet Spence. I didn't understand from Jet Spence. But Matthias Tell actually looks like the player that we thought he was going to be now. Yep. Very good. Kolomouani looks like a find as well. Looks like
he played a bloody good game, especially in that formation. 4-5-1 is very tough.
Yeah.
5-4-5-4-1 is very tough.
Yeah, with Richarlison playing well, you've got Solanke who keeps on scoring, whether you like it or not. The guy keeps on scoring, right? They've got some fundamentals there. And then let's not forget, this was the breakout game for Xavi Simons. Amazing, Xavi Simons. Yep. Amazing this game, right? And so if Xavi Simons can play the way he played against Atletico Madrid, right? If he can play that way, and then Matthias Tell continues to be dominating on the wing, you got Kolomouani on the other flank, you got Solanke and Richarlison up front, right? With the solid base of Gallagher, Sa, and Besum and them guys, if they can just step up, they play a little bit, right? Romeo, Van der Ven, I know they're suspended, but they'll come back at some point. You got the makings of it. I don't think they've got any chance of getting relegated. I really don't. If they play in this manner.
Yeah, sports commentary is weird. 2 weeks ago it was doom and gloom. 2 games later, we're thinking, let's all keep quiet because I think they'll do well against Nottingham Forest and the head-to-heads against the other basement rumblers. They'll beat them based on this. But I think the one thing is just on paper, they should not be relegated and they can't afford to be. If you look at I always like the financial side of football, right? And for Tottenham with that stadium and the overheads and the things they don't have in the contracts, like a lot of them don't have relegation clauses. And the devastating effect, if Tottenham gets relegated, the amount of people that will leave actively and the amount of money they're on, they can't go to the championship. Literally, they cannot. Financially, they'll be gone. They'll be like Leeds. We'll see them in 16 years.
Yeah. But I mean, they're playing Forest, they play Sunderland, they play Wolves, they play Leeds, right? So they've got their destiny in their hands. If they can win 2 or 3 of those games, right? That's it. That's the end. So I think what were there? What do you think of the Tottenham Nottingham Forest game? What are your thoughts there?
I will get into predictions.
This is a hell of a game, bro. Hell of a game, bro.
It's their Champions League actually final because Nottingham Forest are very shaky. They're besides Burnley, which are gone, they actually have to beat them, and based on the last 2 performances, they'll do it. Nottingham Forest, I have to say it. Yeah, going to Europa on Thursday and playing on a Saturday. Good luck in a game like this. And they don't have the squad. They should beat them, but it's literally do or die. And who's home? I've forgotten.
Tottenham at home.
That's the other thing now. So
Tottenham are garbage at home.
They're garbage and their fans are toxic, but I think after the last 2 games, the fans should be okay. They're a fickle bunch. Every fan is fickle, let's be honest. Even the pundits and the stats out there for the betting stats have got Tottenham as the slight favorites. And statistically, they are. They should win it, and they need to win it. And I think, they've got the right. Well, weird to say, but they've got the right person in the helm for them.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
drive
Look,
them.
he seems to be translating now what we thought he was going to bring, right? That fighting
Yeah,
mentality. We thought that was the selling point of Tudor, right? That he brings a fighting mentality back to the team, and he seems to be bringing that. Look, I was very impressed with the Liverpool match. I really was. Although, look, there are mitigating factors, so let's not let's not give them the throw a parade for them already, right? Because look, Liverpool did play the B squad, right? They did.
yeah, they did,
And
yeah,
Liverpool are not in good form at the moment. They're really not. They're not in good form.
yeah,
Atletico Madrid, as you said, are a terrible away side, right? I really haven't been following Atletico, so I'm taking I'm taking what you're saying as gospel there. So Atletico Madrid are not a good away side. Also, they were leading 3-0, right?
yeah,
Like basically ostensibly 3-0, right? But remember, if Matthias Tal had actually scored, like remember he had a chance that he should have crossed, but he tried to shoot at the goalkeeper. If he crossed that to Kolomwani, that could have been, they could have been 3-0 at halftime, which would have been very, very interesting, by the way. I would have wished for that. But anyway, so I think that let's not give them the parade yet. We'll see this match. I think this match for me will show me whether they've turned the corner or not. Because if they can get up for this match, because it's not Liverpool, is at Anfield, is a very good game to get your heads up and say, look, we're not going to lose.
yeah.
We're not
Because
going
it's
to this game.
aggressive and they're in your
Yeah.
face, small stadium, the
Yeah.
fans on top of
So
you
you have
swearing.
to. You have to. So can they be motivated to beat Nottingham Forest? So that's one of the I'm gonna watch that game 100%. I'm gonna be interested in that game.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
yeah.
carry on.
Yeah, let's go. I guess we're doing the predictions now.
Yeah, let's go to predictions now. Okay, so Bournemouth, Man United have already played. Brighton, Liverpool right now are 1-1. So what are you thinking?
Let me go to my predictions. Sorry, let me just go to my notes. I just basically said Liverpool 2-1. My betting
so you're right on track.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm worried because what's one thing that Liverpool are very bad at?
Defending
late.
Late, yeah.
They've lost amount of
minute,
matches after the 80th minute, I think, in the league.
Really? Are they number one
Yeah.
with that?
Yeah, wow. I think it was. So you need to be worried if you're a Liverpool fan. So Brighton Liverpool, I'd actually put 2-1 Liverpool to win.
Yeah.
My betting was actually both teams to score, Liverpool win or draw. So even then, I was giving Brighton a chance. So I'm not sure if Matoma was playing, but if Matoma was playing, then there's going to be a problem. So yeah, I think we're on track for that. Basically, Liverpool could win or draw, both teams to score. So yeah.
Yeah, Matoma's not playing.
Yeah, then that was the equalizer.
He's not. Yeah, he's on the bench though. He's on the bench.
Oh, he's on the bench, so it might be brought on.
Yeah.
He's coming from injury.
Yeah.
And your prediction?
I think it will be 2-2, a 2-2 draw. From what I'm looking at, I think that Liverpool will score next. Right, there'll be next ones to score, and then I think that they will again like they won't be able to keep the lead. So I think it'll be 2-2 draw. Okay, Fulham Burnley at 5. What are your thoughts?
Let me put on my notes. Fulham Burnley. Did I look at that one? I didn't look at it, but I'll play it off the cuff. So Burnley are not a good nick. They don't travel well. Mm-hmm. Fulham home are not the best, but I think it's going to be. It's 2-0 actually. I remember that score. It's 2-0. That is, I agree with the bookmakers. Everyone is saying 2-0, and I agree with it. So
I think Burnley could score. I'm going 3-0, 3-1. Sorry, 3-1 Fulham. Because I think, but you're right. Burnley are not looking. I think they're the worst team in the Premiership right now. In terms of they're the worst team because Wolves is better than them at the moment. So I think, and I think they know that they're not going to get out of the relegation. I think they know they're going to get relegated. I think they know that. So I am predicting that I think Fulham will beat Burnley. They'll score 3 goals, but I think that Burnley will score a goal because Fulham do tend to concede sometimes. Man City Crystal Palace has been postponed. Everton Chelsea.
Now it's one of my. So it might not look like it, but if you into the data, it's got some crazy stats. In the last 18 meetings between these two, the away team has only won once, and that was in 2022. The last 5 games, the away team has not scored a goal. This tells you something.
Everton.
Yeah.
Is it Everton at the new stadium?
Yep.
David Moyes against Liam Rosenior.
Yes. So the data is saying basically put your money on Everton to win or draw, and the goals are probably under 4.5 if you still get good. You get above 1.8, I think. The odds are dynamic, so that's probably the safest bet you can make in the weekend, to be honest. So by actual score is 1-1, but I somehow believe Chelsea cannot be that bad 2 games in a row. But they won't win. I don't think Chelsea will win. That's the number one thing. They're a away team, and they're likely to score a goal, given how the stats have gone.
I think that Everton will beat Chelsea quite comfortably, to be fair with you. I think this Everton will play a rough game, the similar game that they played against Manchester United, right? They are going to put Chelsea under pressure. They're not going to allow them to do their passing game as they normally do. They're going to be very aggressive on set pieces. And as we know, Chelsea really don't have a goalkeeper. And without Reece James, they're going to want to take set pieces. Cole Palmer is very inconsistent when he takes set pieces. But I think with players like Cole Palmer, João Pedro, Esteban might be on the bench. Pedro, they are players that like sort of like the PSG type games. They're not going to be players that like the Stoke, Everton type, like rough games. I think they will lose this game. I think Chelsea will win comfortably. I think it'll be 2-0 Everton. 2-0 Everton.
Yeah. Okay.
Leeds Brentford.
Okay. Yeah, so Leeds are in good form at home. They have a fortress, right? They just lost once in 16 home games against Brentford. 1-7, drawn 8. So that tells you where my head is at. Brentford are hard to predict. Very hard to predict. Yeah, even home and away, you can't really predict them. But I think it'll be a Leeds. My actual score is Leeds 2, Brentford 1. I think just because Leeds have got too much motivation not to draw. So they actually have to go for it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's the score that I would have put down as well. I think Leeds will win 2-1. I think Leeds will take a 2-0 lead, right? That's what I think is going to happen. And then I think Brentford will pull one back sometime in the 80th or the 70th minute or something along those lines. Because Leeds have a mistake in them. But I think that they are highly motivated to win this game. Because if they win this game, right, they create some space. Because I think Tottenham are likely to beat Nottingham Forest. So I would say that Leeds do need to win, right? Okay, so Newcastle Sunderland, that derby.
The Tyne-Wear derby.
So the Tyne-Wear derby. What are your thoughts?
So I think this is a make or break for Eddie Howe. Let's be honest, right? After that chastening, that spanking, he has to win this, and I think he will. Sunderland, unfortunately, or fortunately, they had a very good run in the beginning. They know they're safe, and it's falling apart home and away. I think Newcastle will win. Sunderland, not the same Sunderland. We know that they're only gonna lose by 1 goal even, and if Shaka's there, they're fine. It's not the same anymore. So I think we must throw that out the room. So I think Newcastle have to win, and I think they'll win. I think it'll be a 2-0. Because of the momentum, Newcastle had the momentum, even if the last game was a chastening. They've been playing well.
So embarrassing.
It was.
I think that Newcastle were thoroughly embarrassed against Barcelona. I think that it was schoolboy defending. And it makes me question Eddie Howe really as a manager, because if he couldn't organize or motivate his players, because you can see even in the first half, right? Newcastle had the weapons to defeat Barcelona. That's why I'm not high on Barcelona at all. I think that defensively they are poor. I think they're even worse than PSG. Right, what the PSG we're talking about. They are far worse. Right? They have an awful defense. I have to say. And Newcastle were able to run through them at will, right? But you could see the Newcastle players were scared. Even in the first half, how many mistakes did Thiaw and Burn make? Loads, right? That's why I think Ben going to the World Cup is a really big mistake that Tuchel was making, because he tends to be nervous, right? And so I could see that the players were nervous. Picking Trippier was also a terrible decision against Barcelona. I don't know what he was thinking there. So stupid. He should have played Livramento. I don't know why he didn't play Livramento. And so for me, I think Newcastle will be embarrassed by what happened in midweek, where they had to do remember Ramsey, the cross across the penalty box that he gave a go to Rafinha. I mean, come on. We used to play soccer in high school. We were told you don't pass the ball across your own defense, right?
Yes,
you don't do it. These are like primary school stuff. They're making silly mistakes that they should never have made in the first place. So I think they'll be embarrassed. I think they'll be desperate to win. So I think they're going to win this game comfortably.
Or
I
they
think
have
it'll
to.
be I think it'll be 3-0 to Newcastle. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Aston
All I
Villa,
can
West
say,
Ham.
Villa West Ham. Oh, this is a tough one.
Mm.
Villa, yeah, not in great form, home and away. I think an interesting stat is if Unai Emery loses a game, this is his worst home losing streak in any of the teams he's actually coached in his entire career.
Ever.
Ever. So I think it will be a 1-1, merely because West Ham have got the fighting spirit and they've got their tails up. And Aston Villa not in good form. I haven't looked. There's nothing notable from Aston Villa that makes me think that they're going to win outright, to be honest.
Let me look if Somerville is back, because that will determine whether is Somerville back.
And
West Ham.
Aston Villa cannot be losing 4 home games in a row. That's actually a crazy stat.
He's ruled out of the. Okay, he's ruled
Okay.
out. So yeah, then I agree. Then I predict a draw, because I think West Ham are desperate. They are desperate to win. They definitely need the 3 points. I think that it looks like a 1-1 draw to me, really. I think it'll be low scoring. West Ham really can't score without Somerville. They struggle.
Yeah.
So I think that they'll score from a set piece or something along those lines. West Ham will fight for something. Something will come out. So I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. I think it won't be a very exciting match. I think it'll be quite boring, that game, if I'm being quite honest with you. And then finally, Tottenham Forest. You think that Tottenham are going to win, right?
They have to. So I think the score will be 2-1. With Tottenham, we don't even need to check who the lineup is, because it doesn't really matter. It's just they have to. And I think they are like, the form is going to carry them forward into this game. They played well. And then Atletico Madrid game win was huge. It was very huge for the team, for the morale. And they got too many weapons. And Forest played on Thursday and they won. So that took a lot out of them. So I think they're going to be in trouble.
Extra time, right? The first was they had to go to extra time, right?
Yep. And that's another thing as well. Thursday game is a killer. Saturday afternoon, it's going to kill them. So as long as
they played the whole extra time, they had to go to penalties. Remember, they played the entire extra time
with their first team. Their first team. So they're kind of in trouble with this, energy wise. So I think Tottenham, if they're smart and do the right things and listen to their coach, who doesn't seem to have no chill, they should win this on paper.
Yeah, Romeo will be back, right?
Which is a bad thing, actually, but we'll see. Yeah, it's actually a bad thing.
Okay, cool, man. All right, man. We've been on for a while now. I think it's time to go. Let's look at the predictions, and then at the end of the season, we'll tally them up and see who wins. Who wins between you and me for the rest of the games. What's your surefire bet?
It's probably Everton Chelsea, based on that crazy stat that the home team won't lose. So Everton to win or draw. Just do Everton win or draw. That's the safest bet you can. Yeah. The one thing I'm not sure about is the goal. So you can put it under 4.5 goals, just to be sure. That's probably guaranteed. That's probably the easiest stats. So I might as well just go through my betting stats. So I put Bournemouth and Man United. I actually put 2-2 as the score line.
You got it right.
Yeah. For once. And then double chance Man U win or draw, both teams to score. Brighton Liverpool, I put Liverpool to win, both teams, but I said Liverpool win or draw, both teams to score. So we'll see if that will come through. Everton Chelsea, just discussed. Then I put Leeds Brentford. I put Leeds win or draw. Leeds draw no bet on that one, but I'm not sure of the score. With Brentford, anything can happen. It can be 3-3, 4-4, 2-2.
Yeah, Brentford are quite erratic,
Yeah. Newcastle win. That one I'm not going to hedge. I think they have to win. Aston Villa, both teams to score. And West Ham, both teams to score. The only thing you can count on there. And then Tottenham, Nottingham Forest. I'd put double chance, both teams to score over 2.5 goals, just to be sure. But I think it will be. based on both teams can't defend. And then I put Carabao Cup and discussed it, but I put Arsenal win or draw over 1.5 goals, and then Arsenal to lift the trophy. I think it's about time.
Arsenal to win Carabao Cup. Yeah, I think Arsenal win. I think Arsenal win as well. I think Arsenal win. I think that Man City are deadly scared of Arsenal, because if you look at the last time they played openly against Arsenal, they lost 5-1. Right. Since then, Guardiola has perpetually parked the bus against Arsenal. Parked the bus.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember earlier in the season when they drew 1-1, Guardiola was chuffed. He was celebrating. And they literally parked. I never thought I'd see it in my life. Guardiola parking the bus. That's exactly what happened. Parked the bus against Arsenal. That's what they did.
And he doesn't have the tools to do so. So we'll see.
Yeah. His midfield. Look, the flaw with Man City is their midfield. They've got two old men in there in Bernardo Silva and Rodri. Those two guys run out of gas after like 20, 30 minutes. And that's it. So you just have to ride the first couple of minutes of the game. And then if you ride out because if you see Man City, they do very well in the first halves. Second half of the games, they're awful. Why? Because Rodri and Bernardo Silva get tired. You watch Bernardo Silva walking off the pitch. He is like a guy who's running a marathon. He's like drenched in sweat. The guy is tired, exhausted every time.
He's played too many games, even for Portugal.
So I think that Arsenal win that game. Anyway, Q1 Sports. Cheers. We'll see you next week. And let's hope you win some money, right? And win us some money. Right. I will take you a bit seriously.
All right, cool. No problem, man.
And Kev, your goodness, what a terrible.
Right, there was still later. It was still later.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers,
you be naughty, Kev. Cheers, bruv.
Cheers, man.